I'm going to read one more poem. This is from the upcoming chapbook. It's kind of a scrapbook. It's coming out in January, which is kind of unfortunate. I wanted it out this year because it is a tribute to the Rolling Stones on their 50th anniversary. The book is called The Stones, Jones, Canzones. That's Jones as in addiction, and the obvious reference to the dead guitar player. And Canzone is a 13th century poetic form, again, coincidentally, developed by Dante, resurrected in the 19th century by some Italian guys, and by Auden in the 20th century. And there are some people that write formal poetry that kick it around to this day. I'm going to read one of the 5 canzones in this chapbook. This one's about sympathy for the devil. And you're probably familiar with the song Sympathy for the Devil. You may also be familiar with the film, which was made by the French filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard. Fascinating film in that he filmed them in the studio creating the song, watching all the changes, and they went through vast changes recording the song. You're also, coincidentally, watching Brian Jones die. It's about that point in his career. He's a mess. It's also during the period when Robert Kennedy, the weeks they were doing this, the Robert Kennedy assassination happened, causing them to have to make the word Kennedy plural in the famous line, "I shouted out who killed the Kennedys. After all, it was you and me." He intersperses things as well. He intersperses these vignettes of social commentary that go very heavy on black separatism. And ham-handed, it just doesn't do it, any justice. This movie is fascinating. Fascinating. Have people seen this movie?
It's called Sympathy for the Devil?
Sympathy for the Devil by Jean-Luc Godard. It's not one of his big ones.
No, okay.
It's a must-see. Okay, here's an actual poem, no more palaver. Stones, Jones, Canzone. Wait a minute, I'm going to give you a little bit more palaver, just a little bit. The canzone is a repeating form. If you hate sestinas, you're going to love the canzone because there are fewer repeating words and more lines. Do the math. Stones, Jones, canzone number 3. The Stones in Sympathy for the Devil. Jesus, will you look at Brian Jones, compartmentalized, behind a wall of sound attenuation. Brian Jones, whose many Joneses share an adjunct Jones, the baggage of charisma, a waste of talent, fame, a waste of cash and time, a Jones by any other name, etc. Jones to end all Joneses. Here's a yellow card from Keith. 3 chords, mate, it isn't hard. Just look at Charlie. Charlie, look at Jones. We'll keep him in the rhythm section. Bill, let's get you some maracas. Keep smiling, Bill. And there are other players on the bill, and blokes with cameras and microphones on booms. And now, an Afro-Marxist Bill of Rights is read. Who's picking up the bill for this production? Sitting on a wall of junkyard cars beside the Thames, like Bill upon a Fender Twin, but unlike Bill in many ways, a panther with a talent for the imitative focuses his talent on intimidation. More austere than Bill on bass, the brother plays a ghetto bard. He's Eldridge Cleaver in a fascist leotard. Cut back to studio. Jean-Luc Godard is stringing a guitar, ignoring Bill, and focusing on Keith and Mick. Godard, that bastion of the Nouvelle Vague. Godard, purveyor of La Bande Apart, shoots Jones from overhead, behind, with no regard for Brian's legacy. Le Grand Betard. Meanwhile, Mick evolves a funky caterwaul, and Keith unwinds a honky wall of sound effect, quite lost upon Godard, who's come to film the revolution. Talent is absurd. Go find a formula for talent. Now, at Camden Quayside, dig the talent show. An open soapbox for Godard, who speaks in tongues, as the graffiti talent Eve Democracy decants her talent on the walls and bourgeois Bentleys build the stones for damages. And as for talent, what the hell more motherfucking talent could you ask for than the ersatz Leroy Jones reciting as his crew dispatches Jones of Arc face down in nightgowns? You want talent? There's some, bleeding on the pavement, on the wall. Democracy scrawls up against the wall. Now, strumming chords behind a rubber wall, the multi-instrumental waste of talent. Godard is painting something on the wall. Mr. President, tear down this wall. A line ironically post-avant-garde and premature. It's retrograde. Now all the pieces fall together. Wall-to-wall percussive coding. Charlie nodding, Bill communicating. Jagger quacks his bill and shakes a feather. Keith holds up the wall and peels a classic riff as Brian Jones keeps strumming 1-4-5. The dying Jones, a perfect foil to Dylan's Monsieur Jones, Jean-Luc Godard, who's run into a wall of turgid ideologies, a talent, some would say. He turns another card. Another Kennedy is added to the bill. Thank you.